You all place your hands on the bottom of Elturel, and Zariel nods her head, and the two angels begin to glow, and all of you together are surrounded by, illuminated and surrounded by the light of these two angels as you all go barreling out of Avernus with Elturel, your hands against the stone as you all send Elturel back to the material plane. There's this blinding flash of light as you break the barrier between this plane of existence and the material plane, and then suddenly the Sianthar River shines like a golden road stretching from Elturel to Baldur's Gate and the sea beyond. You guys can all smell the scent of morning dew cutting through the odor of smoke and brimstone that clings to Elturel. Slowly, the people of the city make their way out from their hiding places to stand in the light of the mortal world once more. And all eyes focus on Zariel, where she stands, her sword in hand. The planetar that was released from the companion and helped you all raise Elturel out of Avernus kneels before Zariel, and Lulu sort of nudges Zariel with her trunk and gestures towards you, and Zariel strides your way, and she sort of bows her head in solemn gratitude, and she says, "This dark chapter has at last come to an end, and it is a brighter end than I ever dared hope for. Thank you. Your selflessness will live on in my memory forever." And Lulu says, "And in mine!" And and Zariel's tone turns somber, and she says, "You have made an enemy of Asmodeus this day. We have that in common now. I wish you strength and good fortune, and if you ever have need of my power, hold this feather aloft and invoke my name. I shall come to your aid." And she plucks a feather from her wings, and she hands it to you, Krayley. With her gift given, Zariel inclines her head and unfurls her wings and soars into the sky. And Lulu turns, and she wraps you all up in a massive hug with her trunk. And when she lets go, she smiles warmly, and she says, "We'll see each other again someday." And the golden mammoth then flaps her wings and soars into the sky behind Zariel. You watch her silhouette dwindle until it is swallowed by sunlight.
You know, I was gonna ask them to tell Nathaniel to say hi, but that's for another time, I guess.
True.
You guys stand now near the center of Elturel, in ruin. It has been sort of placed in the crater where it was taken from, sucked out of the earth by the companion. You see over near the high halls where many of the refugees were hiding, coming down the stairs with a big set of raven's wings behind his back, silhouetting an older raven guard, and lumbering down behind him a massive treant. as the survivors sort of converge on the center of the city as well, all sort of looking at you all in awe. Older steps forward, and he says, by the light, you've all done it. I can't begin to display my gratitude.
We're glad you're alive.
And I could say the same for all of you. For a minute there, I thought we were all doomed. But I knew that if Captain Lightheart saw something in all of you, then his faith and mine did not go unwarranted.
I still gotta hear the story. Who was that guy?
It's going to take a lot of work to restore Elturel and Baldur's Gate. But perhaps these events will at least show the people of these two cities that quarreling between ourselves is a fruitless endeavor. And perhaps we can bring in a new dawn between Elturel and Baldur's Gate. Boulder says, I'm hoping I can continue to count on you all to help me not only restore Elturel, but bring Baldur's Gate, restore the faith in the people of Baldur's Gate as well.
Well, I got nothing else to do.
Yeah,
I can
I
help
need a bit
out.
of a vacation.
um, Gnarl, the big tree, and he comes and sort of kneels down and he says,
I give him a big hug.
So does
he says, I have to say that I didn't expect to leave the Feywild in the way that I did, but it's been an honor to help Mr. Ravengard here protect the people of this city. I've learned that you material plane dwellers have stout hearts. And maybe I'll stay here a while. He looks over at Flaxus and Lep and he says, you two smell of the Fae.
Yeah,
I
we've met. I hope. I think. I don't know. I may have been drunk on tea when we first met.
um, I could go for a nice cup of tea right now. As you guys are standing there, the people of Elturel, they kind of swarm in. They begin to, weep and sort of jostle to thank you all and show their gratitude. And you guys have witnessed the end of the Blood Wars for the time being. You restored an angel. From this corrupted soul back into into the light. You defeated the former Lord of Avernus, and now that position, I'm sure, will be in hot contention. I guess the day goes by, and Boulder says he will come find you all, but you deserve now to have some peace after all that you've gone through. And after a time, the people of Elturel start to salvage what they can, and the restoration of the city begins under Older's guidance. What would you guys like to do?
I think Mavathor is, during the whole high of everybody coming back to the material plane, he's quite somber, and at one point he goes off to an isolated area and falls to his hands and knees and begs Asmodeus for forgiveness.
Forgiveness for?
Shifting the power of, or the balance of power slightly away from the devils and doing something he probably necessarily wouldn't approve of, since Mazariel said that we made enemies of him.
You hear Asmodeus's voice in your mind as you pray for forgiveness, and he says to you, Mavathor, Mavathor, for now, all is as it should be. Zariel played her part in the grand scheme of things. Bel has always been treacherous, a little too ambitious for his own good. There's much planning now, though. There's always a bit of chaos after these kinds of things. There's nothing that needs to be forgiven. You've always acted in good faith to keep things in proper order. Order is paramount.
You know,
Zariel will have to answer to the angels now. I'm sure that she will have a difficult time pleading her case to them.
yes, and even if they do accept her back, she'll have to live with what she did for the rest of eternity.
You can sort of hear the little smirk in his voice as he says, indeed she will. Asmodeus says, who do you think should lord over Avernus now, Mavathor?
Someone who isn't quite like Bel, since he proclaimed himself as Archduke of Avernus without your consent, and someone who doesn't have the possibility to falter like Zariel did.
Asmodeus says, Mavathor, your dedication to order is beyond compare. Tell me, how would you rule Avernus?
I suppose the only way that an Archduke should rule Avernus is in your name, under iron fist of law.
Is that a responsibility you would want for yourself, Mavathor?
If you're offering.
Bel had his chance, and Zariel served her purpose. The rest of my children... I don't think would rule Avernus as faithfully as you. I don't see why I can't give you a shot. And, you feel this sort of warm sensation on the crest of your forehead, and a sort of, well, you can describe what it looks like. What does the new Lord of Avernus's crown look like as it appears over your head?
Given his unwavering faith to Asmodeus, I'd say it looks like just a flaming holy symbol of Asmodeus that burns with both fire and divine light.
Asmodeus, his tone grows a little more serious, and he says, the Blood Wars are done for now. But there's always something trying to tamper with the order of things. I sensed something when you visited me in Nessus. A dark energy. I believe that something powerful is attempting to unravel the order of things. You might get to prove your worth to me sooner than expected, Mavathor. But for now, enjoy your victory. And continue to serve in my name. I will call upon you again soon, when I know more.
Thank you, my lord.
I'm going to have to create a little magical item there for you with your crown.
He'll, since you have to seclude her, he'll notice his, like, face is wet from initially begging, so he'll just,
I think
wipe it off.
I think one last thing that I think this is just something Asmodeus would do. In exchange for the crown, he says, like everything, Mavathor, we use things as tools. You have a tool that's nature is of the abyss. I'm going to have to take it from you. And he takes the nightmare crook. It sort of shrivels to dust in your hands. He says, "We don't want anything corrupting you now, do we?"
No, I suppose not, but as you said,
But
every
you'll get
tool
something. You'll
serves-
get something equally as good. You'll get something equally as good.
Yeah. As you said, every tool serves its purpose, and I suppose
Indeed,
that's,
indeed.
its purpose.
Mavathor had gone off to speak with his lord, leaving the three of you. Philaxis kind of, he's looking around and he says to you, Lep, he goes, "This is quite a grand city. I'm sure that it was beautiful before whatever happened here."
I'm sure it was. I wasn't there when it happened, but I'm sure it can be rebuilt.
He says, you know, I keep having these, I don't know if they're dreams or memories, but, I just keep having the same impression of us as boys, playing in the fields in the forest. I feel, even though I don't know why, I feel a deep connection to you, Lep. Maybe it's where we're from, but it's like I found something that was lost to me for too long. I hope that's not too forward to say.
No, it's not. I'm sorry, Blackness. I'm also trying to going through a lot. You almost died. Again. I thank you. I do think we need to have an actual conversation about what's happened. I can make us some tea and maybe we can talk.
He says, on the other side of that coin, I also feel like there's parts of me that's hollow, empty. Like I'm not exactly whole.
Oh, we're gonna have that conversation out here? Okay. Well, that's because you're not.
Pulls Cravey away.
Like Naza said, relaxes. To make a long story short, I guess somehow Zariel found you. You disappeared from the Feywild about 70 years ago. I didn't know where you had gone. No one had known where you had gone. I went looking. I couldn't find you. 70 years pass, and a beanstalk comes from hell, Avernus, and they, Queen Titania wants me to go check it out. And I'm like, oh, sure. I need to prove myself. And then I see, well, he called himself Smiler. And, well, to speed things up, I guess Avernus, well, it affects everybody there. But if you're there for too long, if you do too many dealings, it corrupts you. And you feel that emptiness because when your soul was returned to you, only the soul that of Philaxis was returned. The soul of Smiler, well, the pieces of that soul are still down in Avernus. And I was going to tell you this in private, but after I get some things sorted out with the Archfey, I do plan on going back down there and getting them back for you. Because, while I admit it is so great, so wonderful to see you, it isn't right for you to not be whole. Even with the good and the bad, you can't just be half of yourself. That's not right to anybody.
He sort of stares at you for a few moments, and he says, perhaps half of myself is enough. If Avernus changed me in the way you say it did, doesn't sound worth the risk. He sort of takes a big breath of the morning air, dew air, and he looks around and he says, I can still see the beauty in things. I know that I'm capable of feeling things. Maybe I have all the pieces that I need. Why risk turning ourselves into whatever you say Smiler was again?
That is a fair point. I mean, if you truly don't want to do what I want, I just want to make sure that you will be okay. Because I don't know what the future holds, and that's kind of scary.
Who could ever know what the future holds, Lepus? I say that we should just return to the Feywild together. And I can fill all the missing parts of myself with new things.
Well, in that case, I think you and I need to have a slight little chat about something I did that may have slightly angered the Queen. So, and maybe while we're talking about that, we can work on a tuning fork. And Lep is gonna lead Philaxis away and into a building of some sort.
Sure. You guys can go find a private place.
Oh,
Le-
Lep does like look back towards Sylvie and Crayley. Thank you.
And that does leave Sylvie and Crayley there together. The last of the citizens of Elturel have kind of dispersed, leaving you with their final thanks. The last woman that kind of lingers behind was that woman you guys had originally saved that you spoke of, Crayley, and she comes up to you and she says, "Ma, you look different."
How does it happen to get here at this point?
She says, "I think the wings suit you. I and my child wouldn't be alive if it weren't for you and your friends. I know that many of the other citizens have expressed the same, but you have my deepest gratitude, and when we get this place cleaned up, you're always welcome in my home." She's like got her kind of child wrapped up in like a, a soot covered wrapping, and she looks a mess. Her hair's all frazzled and singed, and she like kind of wipes some like soot stained tears from her cheeks, and she says, "I still can't believe any of this happened. It all seems like a horrible nightmare, but this is all real, and you hear of legends, heroes, people who have done tremendous things, and I just want you to know that you're one of those people now. What you've done is tremendous." And when my daughter's old enough, I can't wait to tell her the story of the angels that saved us.
We weren't all angels coming down. I hope you'll tell her that part.
Nobody's perfect.
She says, "I can't speak to what you went through, but I can speak to the results, and that's what matters. All of these people owe you their lives. So don't be so hard on yourself."
I do plan to visit later, so I appreciate that. And come to Southsfoot. You're welcome there as well.
She says, "I haven't been to Baldur's Gate in some time. I will have to make the journey." And she says, I've gotten to know older Raven God a bit. Since we didn't have much else to do while we were trying to survive down there. He seems like a good man, and I'm hopeful for our future. And she turns to you. She turns to you, Sylvie, and she says, "And I don't know how you do it, dear, but you'll have to give me some tips, because you can run through the first layer of hell and still come out gleaming."
Aw, shucks. Well, even a mess, you look gorgeous yourself.
She smiles and she gives you both a big hug. She says, "Thank you again, truly, from all of us." And she makes her way back towards the high hall, and you two are there now. There's still people, lingering in the square and things, but Mavthor and Lep have gone off.
I would say that like some bubbles appear around Mavithor and Sylvie and Krayley, and there's like a cup of Fey tea in each of them. Just a little note like, you can try some. Be wary of any possible side effects.
You see Mavithor kind of saunter back over to where everyone was gathered, and I think they definitely noticed the holy symbol of Asmodeus on him.
Whoa, that's dope.
Show some respect, Sylvie. You're speaking to the new Archduke of Avernus.
I'm sorry. Just saying, it looks really cool.
Thank you.
That make you easier to hit, Mappathorn?
Well, I hope not, since it was very hard to hit before.
It's now just a target.
So, the day goes by. Ulder has said he'll call upon you again, but for the time being, you guys can stay in Elturel. You can head back towards Boulder's Gate if you want. I will probably move into the new adventure and treat it sort of like we're starting a new game a little bit, so maybe we'll go maybe we'll start with a couple things. I don't know if you guys want to actually just sort of get together and talk, but what would Mavithor do with what's Mavithor's life looking like, after 2 weeks pass or so?
Well, although he's, quite prideful of being quite literally chosen by Asmodeus, he'll do his best to temper that ego and instead turn it towards establishing the following of Asmodeus as a more populous following in both Baldur's Gate and Elturel.
Make a religion check with advantage. It's difficult in Elturel after what's happened even before. Elturel was sort of this holy city, and being betrayed by their longtime leader. the information kind of comes out over time that Thavius Krieg had been a devil this whole time, and it's hard to establish a foothold following in Elturel after this experience. But in Baldur's Gate, it's quite a bit easier to do. Many of the citizens still linger there who were not only parts of the cult of the Dead Three, but there's a big tiefling population in Little Kalimshan, and you quickly, with your new power in Little Kalimshan, are able to erect a temple to Asmodeus, but you do garner a following of new acolytes. What does your temple look like?
Well, speaking of that, since he is a cleric of a certain rank, he will just say he swaps out one of his spell slots for Temple of the Gods, and he uses that to create a temple to Asmodeus, and it has kind of themings that you'd probably see in Avernus, more ironclad structure, braziers, generally very orderly looking, neat and clean sort of aesthetic to it. Oh, I just remembered something. Before he left Elturel, he would have looked for the body of Silvira.
You can find it.
Okay.
Yeah. She had, like many of the dead, after they weren't like idle. The survivors of Elturel, they weren't like idle the whole time you were adventuring in Avernus. Gnarl had erected this viney barrier over Elturel, which actually still kind of exists. So like half of Elturel is sort of covered in this viney barrier. They cleared out the graveyard and they had started laying people who had perished to rest there. So you actually find her in the graveyard.
Right.
Since you are I'm going to try and hand out some supernatural gifts to you guys. We'll see what we come up with here. But for you, I'm going to give you something from Theros. Since you are a cleric of a certain ranking, I'm going to give you the supernatural gift of having 50 piety in Theros of the oracle. So you get this oracle trait. You can increase your wisdom by 2 and increase the maximum by 2.
Indeed. But since he recently acquired that diamond from Sylvie, he'll attempt to cast Resurrection on Silvira.
Is there like a time that they have to be dead?
No more than a century.
Oh, okay. Where do you resurrect her?
Probably, pull her body out to somewhere out in the open and do that there.
Let me pull up her you have her exhumed, and you bring her soul back into her body. She her eyes kind of pop open, and she sits up, and she looks up at you, and she says, was dead, wasn't I?
Indeed. Very, very, very dead.
She says, she kind of do you raise her in Elturel, or do you bring her to
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, since he's there, you might as well,
She sees the city and she sees the sky and she says, you did it.
Yes, we, quite the story to tell, and I'll catch you up on that. But I believe I have some stuff for you, and he digs into his bag and hands her back her spell book, her potions, her wand, and her ring.
She gets up, kind of in shock a bit. She says, I don't know what I could do to thank you for this gift of my life back, but I will make sure that your name is put down in the books in Candlekeep so that they know you are always welcome to use the libraries there.
A very generous offering. Thank you.
She says, I would like to hear your story, but perhaps for now I should... she says, well, the Raven Guard's still alive?
Indeed, he is. He, as well, with the rest of us, he went through some changes, but for the most part, he's still his self.
If you don't mind, I would like to find him.
Understandable. Look to... I assume there's people nearby and ask them if, they've seen him recently.
Yeah, somebody points him in the direction of the high halls, and she turns back to you, and she sort of looks at your new crown, and she's kind of eyes you for a moment, and she says, yes, I would like to hear your story indeed, and I'm sure there's plenty else that we could discuss. And she sort of gives you a little bow. May Asmodeus guide you.
I have no doubt that he will.
So a couple weeks go by. You raise a temple in to Asmodeus in Baldur's Gate, and you bring one of the notable wizards of Candlekeep back to life, which will make a good ally in the future, I'm sure. Anything else Mavathor would have done with a couple of weeks' time?
Aside from that, he'll probably just find some time to rest between all the hard work he's doing.
Sylvie, a couple weeks go by. How would you have spent this time?
I feel like Sylvie definitely goes and checks in on Thirstwell. And I also think she's probably helping Lep and yeah, trying to make the tuning fork. I think that's basically the gist of it.
Is the tuning fork to get back to
The
The
Feywild.
Feywild?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At some point, well, pretty quickly, Philaxis, he lets you know that it's not necessary that he knows the way. Anyone can get to the Feywild that knows the way. We don't need a tuning fork. I can guide us there. you find Thurswell at the barracks, Sylvie.
Sorry, what was that?
You find Thurswell at the barracks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I heard something about the barracks. I was like,
Yeah, back in Baldur's Gate. You head back to Baldur's Gate, and you find Thurswell at the barracks. When he's overjoyed to see you have returned, he says, "Oh, does this mean that you've returned, Elturel?"
yeah, barely.
He says, "I'm so proud of you. More people than you know owe you their gratitude." When you get back to Elturel, you can see that the devil horde that was sort of like keeping all the citizens inside is gone. Thirstwell, he says, "It's been utter chaos here. I'm glad that you've returned. Is the Raven God all right?"
Yeah, I think he's doing pretty good. He's got wings now.
I did you have wings the last time you guys visited the barracks?
Yeah, I definitely did.
Crayley didn't.
Yeah. Are you with
Yeah.
Sylvie? Do you travel around with Sylvie or what? Rayleigh?
Sure. Because I'll have a conversation with Sylvie at some point.
Thurso
If so
says,
happy.
Thurso says, I know that we truly don't know each other very well, and but I have to say that you've been a great help to me, and I'm thankful that even though he's gone, you always had Dolus's back.
Yeah.
I know that he was perhaps at times a difficult character to deal with, and he always made his own way, but he might have gone about things a little backwards, but you have to understand that he and I both grew up and lived in circumstances that were not suited for kindness and doing the right thing. My mother was a severe woman, to say the least. And Baldur's Gate has always been a severe city. Even now, the struggle for power continues as the nobles decide who's going to be the new dukes.
Oh, don't get me started on that one.
But I can say that I'm happy and proud to know both of you. And as I said, maybe you didn't choose this fight, but you fought it nonetheless. And the lives of not just those in Elturel, but Baldur's Gate and every city on the Sword Coast owes you their existence, really.
It's very kind of you, Thirstwell.
He says, Crayley, I was hoping that now that you've all returned, and after the dust settles, that perhaps I could place a shrine to Dolos up by your mother's grave.
Absolutely.
I
I appreciate you asking.
had made my way up there, and I saw that someone had defiled the tombstone. I had that mended for you.
Thank you. You can thank myself and Bel for that.
Thurso says, so what are your plans now?
Well, I was promised a trip to the Feywild by Let. Figured it'd be a nice little vacation spot.
Well, I'm sure that he'll make good on his word.
You should come with.
He says, you know, I've lived most of my life locked away in my mother's dungeon. To be quite honest with you, that sounds wonderful.
Well, I'd love for you to come.
I have seen very little of our world. The thought of seeing the Feywild, especially seeing it with friends, warms my heart. And I would be quite glad to join you on that journey.
Good.
He says, you know, I never had much to do but read and study my time away. I guess that was more of a choice than anything else, but sort of realized that all of the history books I've read, that we've really been living through history now. It's hard to believe.
Yeah. Really have.
People of the Sword Coast are going to remember this for hundreds of years to come. Are you ready for that kind of recognition?
Oh, I don't know if anyone is ever ready for that kind of recognition.
I imagine that they will likely erect statues of all of you right here in this spot. This barracks is going to have to be torn down.
Yeah. I mean, just as long as they get Mavathor's crown right, because it's a really dope crown. I think as long as they do that, it should be fine.
You know, in a way, it's probably better that Dolos doesn't ever get to see a statue of himself erected in the city. That would certainly go to his head.
That it would.
Nevertheless, he will always live on in my heart. I can't imagine what you all went through down there, but I hope at least he
Well-
was useful to you when it mattered.
Always.
Absolutely.
Thurstwell says, well, I'm looking forward to hearing your story of your adventure. Hopefully, we can get together sometime soon. I know that, Captain Lightheart always enjoyed, making sure that you were well fed. I've been practicing my cooking while you've been gone. So
I'll
perhaps
have you now.
perhaps one of these nights I'll be able to make you all the nice dinner.
Well, I can't speak for everyone, but I would love that.
I would love that as well, Thirstwell. Why not dinner at my place with everyone?
It'd be fun.
That sounds wonderful. I would like to. I would like to meet your mother as well, greatly. Is there anything in particular you'd like to talk to Thirstwell about?
No, I think that Sylvie just just wanted to check
Just
in
wanted
on
to see him.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been hunkered down, doing what he can in the city to keep any particular nobles from commandeering too much of a foothold. What else would you have wanted to do with a couple of weeks?
I think pretty much Sylvie's just been taking it easy. Just kind of checking in on everyone, helping out where she can.
Crayley, what about you? What would you have done with a couple of weeks?
So at some point, Crayley would pull Sylvia aside, just to have kind of a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah, sure.
Sylvie, do you have a moment to talk?
Yeah. What's up?
Private. This just has been a lot, and I am so thankful we're all here. We all made it. I'm especially thankful with the help of Dolos that you made it and he was able to help your sister. In a way. How are you holding up?
I mean, pretty good considering all we've been through, but it kind of still getting used to being a whole person again. For so long, I've only been half a person, it feels like, but now that she's back, it's finally feel like a person.
I think it
What
showed.
about you?
I'm doing okay. I am glad it's finally over.
Me too.
But I wanted to run an idea by you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've all journeyed to meet this end, so to speak. And it feels like there's some normalcy on the horizon, or at least I would hope.
Mhm.
I wanted to talk to you first about this, Sylvie, but I don't know if... I think this is where I need to stay. Maybe stay with my mom for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. I'm sure we got some time. I'm sure we're all doing our own things.
Yeah.
I've just been away from my home for so long. I just think I
Yeah,
need
no.
a little bit of... Okay.
Yeah, go to your family. They need you.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe this is after the Thirstwall conversation. I do want to stick by that idea of us all getting together and having dinner at our place, and I'm sure Thirstwell would love to cook, so...
Well, I can't wait for that day.
Okay.
Sylvie, this is your supernatural gift in the chat here.
Ooh,
Nice.
fancy.
Sophie, I'm happy for you. I feel like I won't speak for everyone, but I feel like I saw a slight change in you after Dolus's help down there, and I'm just so happy for you, Sylvie, and I'll offer a hug if you want it.
I give in.
Okay, good. But thank you for listening. I just wanted to run that idea by you before the whole group. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely go to them.
And then in the rest of my downtime, I guess I would visit my mom and check in and get her permission to host a dinner, so to speak.
You return to a sow's foot. It is being on the outskirts of the city. It did get some sort of ancillary damage from some devil attacks. You see some of the buildings have burned down, and the residents of Sow's Foot have kind of thinned out. So when you make your way through the city and out to Sow's Foot, your kind of heart sinks down to your stomach when you first see it. You make your way to your house, and you can see that it didn't get burned or destroyed or anything. And when you arrive there, there's no one home, and you wait there for a while, and then you can hear like footfalls on the path that run through Sow's Foot, and you look out the window and you can see your mother coming down the path with her sister, the Tabaxi druid that had attended the funeral of your other mother, and they're like holding hands and laughing together, and then your mother spots your fur in the window, and she runs up the steps and wraps you up in a big hug, and she says, "My boy, welcome home." Does this mean
missed you.
Does this mean your adventure's over?
I missed you, Mom. I believe it is.
She says, she kind of like takes a step back and looks you up and down, and she says, what an adventure it must have been. Look at all these changes. You know, your fur is like stark white now. You've got these wings. Got these pools of like silvery eyes. She says, your mother would be so proud of you. Bounding out of our little corner here and stepping up to the challenge. I know you didn't ask for any of this, but you came through the flames alive, and look at you. I can't even imagine what you've been through. All your mother ever wanted for our city is for it to be a safe place for people to live their lives in peace.
And I hope to keep it that way.
I have a feeling that because of your actions, that maybe that will be our future. I'm so glad you're home.
I'm so glad to see you.
She says, I hope life's not going to be too boring for you now after all of this. Are you going to go live a hero's life now, or
No.
are you going to
No.
help me put the shop back together?
I'm gonna help you with the shop.
Because
I need some boring.
we're you see like her sister comes up and she's got like a big basket full of herbs and things that they've been out picking, and she says she kind of looks over at her sister and she says, "No offense, but you've always been the best at finding the good herbs, and it's going to be nice to have some help again."
Well, there's already been a lot going on, but any chance we could host some people over? Maybe a dinner?
She says, "Of course."
Good.
Any friends that
Good.
you've made in your journey, I'm always welcome in our home. And she says, "Speaking of dinner, you do look a little thin. Can I make you something to eat right now?"
Absolutely.
She starts a fire, and you guys spend the evening together. She asks about your journey. That's your supernatural gift there, Krayley.
Okay.
She says after you guys have spent a little time together and it's a little later into the evening, she kind of says, I have to ask, Craylee, because the mother always knows, you seem to have a bit of a sadness to you. What's wrong?
A lot. Been a lot. We've all been through a lot, and I won't lie to you, we've run into a few situations where all of us, some of us, wouldn't have made it to this point, and I just am finally happy to be home, where I know the future will hold picking herbs and not fighting devils. So, I don't know. I just need to sleep on it. And I needed a good meal. And I needed to see you. I needed comfort.
She says, have all the rest you need, Craylee. You've always been my sweet, gentle boy, and I'm sorry that all of this has happened. But I'm glad to see that even if you've gone through some changes, I guess you'll always be my sweet, gentle boy no matter what, so.
And you.
Welcome home. You spend your 2 weeks just in your home in Southfoot, out in the forests outside of the city, collecting plants and herbs and kind of regrounding yourself in the material plane. By the end of it, some of the peacefulness of home has sort of settled back into your bones. And even after just these 2 weeks of being back in a familiar place with your mother and trying to get settled back into a normal life, you do feel perhaps heavy weight lifted off your shoulders of some of the burdens you've carried. And you feel a lot more like yourself by the end of the 2 weeks. Lep, what would you do with 2 weeks? Would you spend any time on the material plane, or would you try and talk?
Oh yeah, no, he is spending time on the material. Yeah, I imagine Lep does try and help Phylactus make a tuning fork, but after like a couple hours, he realizes he has no idea what he's doing. So, I would say the bulk of his time is spent, one, working with Sylvia and Krayley and Thizrel, and hopefully Mavathor as far as transporting Dolus' body from Elturel to Baldur's Gate and like getting some sort of like funeral or like something like that going. And basically just trying to revitalize and basically add just nature back to Elturel and about it. I imagine he follows Mavathor and he's just like making flowers grow behind him.
Mm.
He's just basically like trying to like bring back nature.
Yeah.
And he's I mean that yeah. And at some point he does have want to have a conversation with it as well.
Oh, sure. There's your supernatural gifts.
Ooh. Fun. But yeah, Lepum sort of knocks on this one's door. It's like, hey, is anyone there?
Yeah, the doors to the barracks open. You see Thirstwell Van Thamper standing there. Looks a little surprised. A fluffy little white cat with big amber eyes is kind of purring at his feet. He says, "Oh, Lep, was it right?
Yeah.
What can I do for you?"
Well, I just want to say thank you for your help with giving Dolos the hero he deserves. And of course, I know I didn't know him, but for being there for him. I was thinking of leaving this necklace with him at his grave, but then I thought that may not be the best use of this. And if there's one thing I've learned about him is that he cared for you, and he wanted to make sure that you were safe and protected. So, Lep sort of like takes Lightheart's necklace off and hands it to him. If you want it, I think you should have it.
He does. He takes it and he sort of holds it in the palm of his hand, and he says, "Captain Lightheart was always quite kind to me, kind to everyone, really. Thank you. This is very kind." He puts it over his neck and he says, you kind of look like Dolos a little bit.
I do?
He kind of reaches his hand up and like touches your jaw. He says, "Yeah, it's all right in here." In the eye,
Okay.
in the eyes too.
Oh, that's nice.
His hand kind
I
of like
also
lingers there for a second and then falls down. He says, "Sorry, caught up in old memories."
It's okay. Memories are very powerful to all of us. I was also wondering if I could ask a favor of you, since you're the only person I know who is actually smart enough to possibly do this. This just stays between you and me for right now, but I am trying to find some rings.
What kind of
It's
rings?
just, a pair. There's a certain someone I owe a little something to. And I know you're very, smart. So I thought maybe you could help me, figure out what would be good. And also, I don't know if you can like enchant or engrave or do that stuff, but
I mean, you'll have to be a little more specific, but I'm sure that I could help you.
thanks. I mean, yeah, I don't. This may sound a little unorthodox and slightly rude. I don't know if you've ever. Well, I know you have. I'm not good at talking to people. I don't know if it's too soon to ask, like, like propose. And I don't know if I should. And I'm gonna ask Sophie for some advice, but I already kind of lost the man like twice and almost 3 times. So it may be a good idea to do it sooner than later. But I don't know. I'm not good at that type of stuff.
He says, "Oh, I see. Say no more." And he snaps his fingers, and a little red imp appears, like on his shoulder, and he says, would you go to my workshop and bring me my enchanting and engraving tools, and bring me back a couple of nice rings as well, formal." And the imp likes, "All right, Thurswell," and he disappears in a little puff of smoke, and
Oh, and you wouldn't happen to know why I've heard of this thing called glamour weave. I really don't know what it is, but I've heard it can like be a really nice outfit. I don't know. I'm just
he says,
I
"Oh, a friend of mine left me some before he skipped town. I have some to spare."
ooh.
And about 2 weeks go by. You all sort of take some time to rest and recuperate and reflect on the trials that you've been through. Stopping the cults from wreaking havoc in Baldur's Gate in your early days, being drawn into the Blood Wars, sent down into Avernus, battling with devils and demons, dying and returning to life, restoring Zariel from a treacherous devil back to the light, restoring the memories of a celestial elephant and all kinds of other shenanigans, eventually bringing back Elturel to the material plane, and completing an entire adventure. You all get word that there is going to be dinner at Crayley's house that you're all invited to, and that is where we'll end the session this week. So well done, adventurers. You completed Descent into Avernus.
Let's go.
I guess I'll just ask you guys, because I know a couple of players have shown interest in new characters. So is there anyone else that wants to play new characters, or do you want to continue to play the characters that you are?
I'll probably stick with my character.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna stick with Lup.
Are you?
Yeah, I've thought about it.
Okay, cool.
I love his quirkiness.
I think this is where Krayley will spend his time now. So Krayley, I think I want to make a new character at this point. To be
Okay.
honest.
Yeah. Sylvie?
I think Sylvie's arc is concluded too, so I think I
Oh,
might as well make
wow.
another character.
All right, I have some things to think about. I have a bit of an idea of what Krayley's interested in, so you'll have to let me know, Sylvie. And like I kind of mentioned briefly earlier, I'm gonna try and kind of transition into the new adventure, and treat it kind of like it's a new game. So maybe for the first session or two, as we move over to high level play, you might have a little time left on your guys' characters who are swapping, but you can you guys who want to switch can let me know what you're kind of thinking. And I didn't want to get too deep into the new book because I didn't want it like clouding my mind as we finished this adventure, you know what I mean? So now I'm really gonna like go and read it over and figure out what would be fun, and transition into it and try and make it look natural, but who knows? And maybe sometime between now and next week, I'll try and get with you, Sylvie, and get with you, Krayley, to talk about new adventures. But I'll need a few days maybe to like actually familiarize myself and kind of think about what's coming next and what the best way to proceed is. But I think you're my second party that's ever like actually completed an adventure from start to finish, so I'm very proud of you all. And I would like to thank you all for being awesome players and showing up every week and making this fun.
Very fun. I'm excited for
Very
the wedding.
Otherwise, you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Congratulations on becoming heroes of the realm, legends in the Sword Coast, and lords of Avernus. And I'll catch you all guys next week.
All right.
See you, everyone.
Awesome.
See you.
Later.